Now we're going to move from vibe coding to no coding. I'm going to share my screen. Podcast artist was no coded with bubble.io. But because I had vibe coded websites to test product market fit in the past, I knew that coming to a table of contents with upcoming events and quick actions was a no-go. As a user myself and my users all wanted to come to a homepage with this create event surface not hidden behind a button. So I created a version of the Stanford podcast event art poster in Bubble. It replaces ChatGPT for the title, LinkedIn for the image and the name and the title, and Canva for downloading this artwork. It replaces Slack and Adobe Acrobat Creator for marketing your event. Let me show you the demo. I'm going to log out. When you come to the logged out state, anyone can try it for free. I am going to create a podcast artwork with Divya as my guest, taking her LinkedIn, scraping it, scraping my LinkedIn, getting all the pictures and the names correct. I'm also going to put the time in and write a title that I'll rewrite with AI. Vibe coding for the win. The title's already there, so let's see what AI does with it. I like this code with confidence because it's so new. How do you even know if this is something you should try? So we're here to help people who are coding for the first time and coding for the last time and new founders and many time exited founders. Now that I like this podcast art, I'm going to want to download it. In order to download it, I have to create an account. I already have an account, so I'm going to log in. But whether you sign up or log in, your work will not be lost. It'll be duplicated into your account. Logging in here. Here we are. I also had some issues with contracts because bigger enterprises that become your guests will want to understand the intellectual property. This is a Creative Commons boilerplate contract. I can create a PDF of all my terms that legal and your guest can sign. This used to take me hours of copy and pasting. Then I can also download the poster. But you'll see that I'm going to be automating this to post for us. And then I'm also going to be slacking because in the world of B2B, Slack and LinkedIn are very important. The reason I created this was because all the social post schedulers were focused on Meta, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, maybe a little bit of Twitter, but actually it's very expensive to get a account for reposting to Slack. Let's see how that works. This is my Slack direct message to myself in Natasha's Stanford Alumni and Tech group. And I'm going to Slack myself and other key group organizers like Natasha. Here, I'll put in the content of my message, and then I'll show you in debug mode the steps that the backend will go through. Once the trigger is clicked, I'm going to sign in with my secret key that's set in the configurations elsewhere. And then I'm going to send a message to myself because I already have access as a member of Natasha's Slack channel. Let's check it out. There you go. That's the message I just sent to myself, and I could automate to send to 5 other board of directors in other groups. What else? I'll show you quickly. These are my data rows. Each time someone creates a podcast artwork, it'll be a row. And then the API connector is not vibe coded. There are the calls in the API for Gemini AI that I quite like, but you could swap this out for ChatGPT, Grok, any of your favorite preferred AIs. Wrapping up, why no code instead of vibe coding? Well, I had already vibe coded the website for product market fit. So I had these insights, and because of those insights, I had 10 users, and I had a couple of weeks to spend on the back end because now there's really a payoff to making it work in the back end. Why not hire developers? Well, as a solopreneur, my goal is to retain all my equity and see if I can do it myself with the help of AI. So if you're a alumni group organizer, podcast host, I'd love to give you a free instance of my software in exchange for feedback. And our group, Stanford Entrepreneurs, is committed to helping entrepreneurs find their paying customers, their first beta testers, their advisors, and their co-founders. So love to chat about that. Here's my calendar link, and please book a call. All right, we're going to move on to the next speaker.